Hey, it's Kevin McCarthy, and welcome to my Savvy Investor series here. And in this part, I'm going to talk about analyzing an investment property. And this can be time consuming on the realtor's part, but if done right, we can really narrow down something that makes a lot of sense for somebody based on their needs and what their investment strategy is. In this example, I've got a new listing that we are putting on the market today that I'm just going to use it as an example to analyze it as if I would analyze another property for an investment property. And so currently, this property here that we're about to list, it's in Hutto. It's in the enclave at Brushy Creek. It's a small part right by the high school there in Hutto, and it's a great little neighborhood. This one comes in just under 1,900 square feet. It is a 3 bedroom. Now, my preference in this square footage range, as far as like an investment property goes, would be to have a 4 bedroom because 4 bedroom does have a tendency to capture just a little bit more rent. It's a little bit more attractive. Uh, but this is a good square footage range. It's a good space, and so we're going to use this house as an example to analyze it. Now, in looking at this, um, first thing we want to do is take what your potential mortgage payment is going to be, or we can look at what the rent is going to be. But starting with the mortgage payment on this, if we take 335,000, which is what the list price of this one's going to be, and we do it conventional with 20% down at I'm going to use 7.25 as the interest rate because interest rates are in the high sixes right now, but for an investment purchase, it's generally there's a little bit higher of a rate on those. I'm going to use hazard insurance at 1,800. We used to be able to really get a hazard insurance policy in the 12 to 1,400 range on something like this, but right now insurance is kind of crazy, and so just to be on the safe side, I'm going to use 1,800. The tax rate in this area, the taxes on this actual house are $3,400 a month, but that's because there is a existing homestead exemption as well as an over 65 exemption. So those don't really calculate into the factor when you're buying it as an investment property. You need to make sure and calculate it based on not having any of those exemptions in place. So if we take the current tax rate at the sales price and we compute that, I'm getting a mortgage payment of $2,590 on there. That's putting 20% down. Now, at that interest rate and stuff, you're going to be in the red on something like that. So let's go and take a look in here in the rental profile and see what we can find that may give us an example of what the rent on a particular house like this is going to be. This house is located right here on the corner. Actually, that's not it. It is here. This is the house that we're taking a look at. And so I like to draw a polygon around the area, and based on my knowledge of the area, what does that look like? What are the most likely other houses in the area that are the same? So this is a 2-story house. It's not even really comparable, at least for 2,000 a month. Here's a smaller 3-2, 1,599, rented for 1,800. There's one on the market over here that's pretty big. It's 2,400. It's sitting on the market. There's one currently on the market that's smaller for 1900. Another bigger house at 2600. This one is kind of across the street, slightly smaller, listed for 1875. This one is almost identical in size, at least for 2000. So I would say this is a pretty good example. It's also a corner lot. Kitchen's not near as big. I would say it's built by the same builder. It's also got a back porch, good sized yard. This is a similar house. I would say that the other house would easily rent for $2,000 a month. This one here, 1939. You see, this is a really good example of getting a little bit more money for a 4-bedroom, right? This one, same size range. It's 1939. It was a 4-bedroom, and it got $2,150. So it got $150 a month more than the 3-bedroom sitting there. So in analyzing an investment property, we got to look at all those factors. So in this particular area, it does make more sense if you can grab a 4-bedroom, you'll get a little bit more rent. But for the analyzation of this property, let's look at let's say it's between $2,000 and $2,100 a month. Well, right now we're at $2,590. So in a year or so, if interest rates were back down where they were a year and a half or 2 years ago, this property would probably easily sell for more money, $50,000 more. We don't know when that's going to happen, but let's say it's 2 years from now, and you're able to go in there and refinance this house at 5%. Now you're at $2,183, right? So you got to float some for a little bit to get a better price, but your house will be worth more in 2 years. And then at that point, you have a tenant paying for it. Probably rents will have gone up a little bit at that point as well. So initially, and I mean, this is a long game play here, right? Right now, you're getting the house at the right price. And for me personally, I'm okay with paying a few $100s a month in order to own a house that somebody else is paying the majority of. Because in the long run, I'm going to have something that's worth significantly more that I can sell off, and that couple $100s a month completely goes away in the wash. So maybe in this particular area, this one is a little bit tight on making those numbers. However, if you wanted to make something change, what I have noticed, banks are very, very favorable to putting more money down and giving you a better interest rate. So if you went to like 30% down instead, you're going to get a much better interest rate. I had somebody do it getting closer to the high 5s to 6 on it with 30% down. So let's just use 6% as an example on this. If you put 30% down, 30% down, you're at $2,150. So you're almost breaking even right away on this house in today's current market. Then you wouldn't necessarily have to worry about refinancing it right away. We can look at the same numbers when we're trying to find something that cash flows. But in putting things in a spreadsheet, what we do is we narrow down the houses. We take and we analyze each one like this, and we see, are they in the red or are they in the black? Or are they just breaking even, right? Or how much in the red is it currently? And does it make sense from a future projection on what it's going to look like in 2 years, that it's going to be well worth it, even if you're in the red for a little bit of time. I'm Kevin McCarthy. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And if you have any questions, or there's a property that you would like me to analyze for you to see if it makes sense based on what's in your portfolio or what you want to put in your portfolio, I would be happy to talk with you about it. Peace.